No, the Catholic Church gave the green light to kidnap, rape, and butcher millions of black people. In 1452, Pope Nicholas V signed Dum Diversas, a decree that told Spain and Portugal they could invade Africa, chain our people, and strip them of everything. With a stroke of a pen, he turned human beings into property and called it God's Will. That document lit the fuse for the transatlantic slave trade. Black men were beaten until their backs split open. Women were raped in front of their families. Children were snatched, chained, and sold like cattle. Whole generations were slaughtered, all justified by the so-called holiest man on earth. The ugly truth: our Holocaust wasn't just built by greedy kings and nations. It was blessed in the name of Christ.
All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Makakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all the brothers and a few sisters out there. Unto us like foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. A very good illustration of a history that needs to be consistently broadened, consistently be put out there. A constant reminder. All right. And this is the reminder, this is the ugly fact, the ugly truth of what happened to the tribes in the nation of Israel. And what this doesn't also illustrate is what was done unto the natives here in the United States of America. Now, Esau is always going to get the blame, because rightfully so, he's the vessel that the Lord used to punish his people. Okay? But we're not fools. In other words, we know the deep root why it happened to us. That was because our people went off from the Lord. So when this event happened, this wasn't an isolated event for one of the tribes or three of the tribes. This is an isolated event. This was an event that took place to all the tribes. All right, because when this man came out of his caveman state, when he left Europe, he came out with rage. All right, he was on a mission, and this mission that he was conducted, he was moved in the spirit of the Lord. And this is an indictment on him, on his history, that, yeah, you did that. Yeah, you was guided, but the same God that gave you this green light to do that, same God is going to destroy you for what you have done. All right. A very good illustration of history. A couple of scriptures. Let me get this. Yes, Isaiah the 10th chapter. Let me get this real quick. Revelation 11:8 says, and their dead bodies shall lie in and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom in Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And it showed the depiction at the end of the great depiction of history, animated, of course, but they did turn the Lord from a man of color to a man that was white. All right, which is not biblical at all. If anything should tell you how the Lord looks, wouldn't it be the scriptures, the very same scriptures that has his life, his coming, all right, what he was supposed to bring, what he stand for? And this place is Sodom, spiritually called Sodom in Egypt, for a reason, because one, we all know that there's a lot of funny business in the society. We're in about a funny type people, and these people, they run this world. All right, they literally run this world. Here it is, they give the rights to these abominable people, and they turn around and patch them up and their so-called struggle, and they put it in with us as another distasteful, um, disrespectful way of minimizing our history. And every time they talk about the things of the left side, which is talking about the Democrats and all that, they always associate the abominable people with us. Which, what I'm about to read, there was none of that. This was Israel's journey. This was Israel's punishment. All right. So Esau have a lot to pay for. It says, "And the day of the kindreds and the people, day of the people, kindreds and tongues and nations shall see the dead bodies 3 days and a half, and not suffer the dead bodies to be put in the grave." Meaning they knew exactly who we were, knew exactly where we came from. They knew our history, our names, our culture. Yet they keep us. They let us remain in this dark state. All right, calling ourselves everything under the sun, except for who we are, and they know exactly who we are. They know exactly where we come from. Okay, but there's a growth. There was a growth period from that time that they took us to now. So now is a great awakening. It says, "And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and send gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth." The rejoicing and making it merry was the transatlantic slave. They were sending gifts. The gifts was us. All right. When Christopher Columbus, which shortly is going to be his time, we're going to put a spotlight on his ass. When he came to this side of the world, not only did he slaughter the natives, use them, abused them, enslaved them, he took their children and sent them off into Europe at young age. All right. Truly children age. And they was doing whatever they want with them. Okay. This is the part of the history they do not want to tell. Epstein's Island this, Epstein Island that. Well, the first Epstein in history was Christopher Columbus, which was his true name is Cristobal Colon, which is his true name. All right. And he was sending gifts to one another. The gifts was us from this side of the world, which they call the natives, right? Which were the northern kingdom, to send them to the other side of the world. And he took Judah, Benjamin, Levi from that side of the world, Spain, all the way down to West Africa, and sent them over here. The transatlantic slave trade. Okay, so they're guilty. They're all guilty. They all had a hand on our downfall, and they kept us in our downfall. They kept us in a dark state. All right. Some in Revelation. Matter of fact, let me go to Isaiah 10, and I'll start at 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and write grievousness which they have prescribed, which is the lawmakers. All right, which the lawmakers don't pass laws; they're being told what to pass. It tells you in Micah 2:1, because it was in the power of their hand, and the ones that have the power is the elites. Okay, just like how they passed a law to dignify the slaughter of the natives. All right, that was a dignification. What you just explained. It was Pope Nicholas. Was it the first? All right. So they decree these unrighteous decrees, and you could put that you can modernize that same thing to this day. So they pass laws to screw the nation of Israel consistently, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And why there was no fathers in the household? They'll love to say that statistics is because the laws that there was passed to remove the fathers. In those times, they slaughtered the men. Okay, they slaughtered men, women, and children during the passage. The genocide that was done here in the Americas. All right, they blatantly genocide the Lord's chosen people and make no recognition of what they do. They celebrate it in this society. It says, what will you do in the day of thy visitation, in the desolation which shall come from far? To whom will you flee for help? And where will you leave your glory? So the Lord is asking that question. What are you going to do when you get visited? Nothing that they can do. These people are guilty. All right. Without me, they shall bow down unto the prisoners. They shall fall under the slain. For all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. Why? Because it was to his people, to the Lord's people. Matter of fact, that's what scripture I had in mind. Daniel 9:12. It says, and he have confirmed he have confirmed his words, which he has spake against us, against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven has been done upon Jerusalem. All right. So throwing us the cargo slave ships, that was the Lord's anger. All right. That was a prophecy that was going to happen because we was disobedient to the Lord. But yet the Lord's hands is not stretched out. It's not, he can't save us. He's gonna save us. All right. The Lord's going to save us from the punishment that he put upon us. It says, verse 5, Isaiah 10:5. O Assyria, the rod of my anger, the staff in the hand is my indignation. So the Assyrians took down the northern kingdom. All right. The modern day Syrians is here in America. What proves it? Let's look at what's happening. What's buzzing in the news consistently? There's an agency that's called ICE that's strictly targeting what we call the northern kingdom. All right. Which is Ephraim down to Issachar. Now, Ephraim, Puerto Rico, is one of the 51st states. Well, one of the states under America. Yet no respect, yet not recognized as anything. All right, treated like dog-ish. So Cuba, Venezuela, Mexico. All right. Oh no, we can't forget about Gad and Reuben, which is the Native Americans here. Okay, and the Seminole Indians. They all forgotten. So the Lord used Esau, which is a modern day Assyrian, to punish his people. All right. For you so-called white people, you're nothing but a tool in the Lord's tool shed. All right. Don't get big-headed. This is not a great promotion, so to speak. It says, I will send him against a hypocritical nation. That hypocritical nation was talking about Israel. All right. They praise the Lord openly. Openly, and then secretly they was praising other gods. So what happened prior to these demons coming to the side of the world? Well, down there in South America, they was sacrificing their people right and left. They was worshiping a pantheon, a plethora of different gods. This is why the Lord sent forth this man. All right. What's this guy's name? It's tip of my tongue. They actually made a movie / anime, which was actually good. It was a Batman. It was like a Batman Aztec. What was this guy's name again? Damn, it's tip of my tongue. It'll come. They sent this bastard down to South America, which caused chaos. All right. They sent the Lord sent forth Christopher Columbus to bring chaos, to destroy, and that was not by accident. All right, Christopher Columbus said that he read Esdras and what they call it, St. Elmo's fire that guided him to this side of the world. So this was ordained by the Lord. But there is which is going to say it. It says, and against the people of my wrath will I give him charge to take a spoil and to take the prey and to trod them down like the mire of the streets. And that's what happened. They went from millions of people in what they call Hispaniola, which was actually IET prior to the term Hispaniola. Millions of people with maybe tens of thousands of Europeans, they called them, Spaniards. And within maybe under 10 years, there was less than 500 that remained of the locals. So the Lord allowed these things to happen. And it was so simple that they thought they were gods. They were gods. They served them. They allowed this man to into their house, and he made them pay for it. All right. Matter of fact, since I'm talking about this subject, so all around, Esau is guilty. It says, Scripture says, Isaiah 55 and 16, I believe. It's 20. For he have put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him, and they were at peace with him. They showed them plenty of love. It wasn't just on the natives in the island of Hispaniola. It was also the natives in America, because that was part of somebody comes to your house, a guest to your land. It was a custom. All right, it was a righteous custom. They gave him things, and then in return they saw that it was weakness. So it says, "For he have put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He have broken his covenant." So after many allowing them to remain in the land and tell them like, "Look, you guys could go home, whatever," they decided, "Oh no, we ain't going nowhere. We staying." All right, and they end up still in the land, the very land that they came on, but they was welcomed. It says, "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart." Sorry, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords, because his demeanor, he came to conquer, he came to destroy. All right, that's what the scripture says about. Matter of fact, I'm quoting it, St. John 10 and 10. And it's not a good thing to boast yourself about. You know, it says, "A thief cometh not but to steal and to kill and to destroy." So the Lord sent a destroyer to take down his people. But like I said, there's a catch-22 with everything. All right, and this was the ultimate catch-22. Verse 7, Isaiah 10 and 7. It says, "Howbeit he meaneth not so, neither doeth his heart think so, but it is in his heart, when in his mind, to destroy and cut off nations, not a few." So he didn't come here to take down, okay, we're just going to take this down and remain here. No, they spread. Like, oh, there's other islands, right? There's other place. There's more gold somewhere else. "For he have said, are not my princes altogether kings? Is not Kalano as Kamaroth?" In other words, is not Hamath as Arpad? Is not Samaria as Damascus? In other words, they took their pride and They put that pride that they took down Jake and renamed everything. This is why you have, I could talk for the United States of America, you have New York. Why did New York stand for? It was York that was in England, or actually it was the Dutch that took this place. But they call it New York. All right, Amsterdam, okay, New Hampshire, all these different terminology they took from where they supposedly came from and renamed everything. I believe in Hispaniola, Santo Domingo is still named after somewhere in Spain. So you get the picture. As my hand have found the kingdoms of the idols, and whose graven images did excel them of Jerusalem and Samaria. Shall I not, as I have done into Samaria and her idols, so do to Jerusalem and her idols? So going back to what is all about what they did to the Lord, what our people did to the Lord, and how our people did it to the Lord. The Lord had to pay us back. Okay? First, the northern kingdom failed. The southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, was supposed to learn from an example. They followed traits, so they got kicked out. So, fast forward it. Northern kingdom was on this side of the world, right? They was committing adultery, idolatry, which is worshiping different gods and so forth, sacrificing. So the Lord sent them forth. Simultaneously, Judah, Benjamin, Levi lost their way. They was worshiping different gods. That's why, that's a spirit. I was thinking about it as I was driving. When you have Jake is getting back to their ancestors, and then what they doing? They praying to their ancestors. They praying to their ancestors for guidance. So instead of you going back to your original state, you're going back to the state that got you effed up from the beginning. Cortez, that's what it was. It was Cortez. Cortez came to South America. He ruined it. All right, he ruined those people. So Cortez came and to destroy, because he wanted riches, just like Christopher Columbus. Christopher Colon. All right, yeah, Cristobal Colon. Sorry. All right, which is Christopher Columbus. It says, verse 12, wherefore it shall come to pass that when the Lord hath performed his whole work upon Zion and on Jerusalem, what's the whole work? He put us into captivity. The Lord did that. He used you to do it. All right, but you had a period of time to do what you had to do, and that was it. Matter of fact, to prove that, the Lord allowed us to be in your hand. All right, because we pissed him off. Amos 2, I believe it's 8. No, I'm sorry. No, hold on. Nope. Yeah, it's supposed to be Zephaniah or Zechariah. Zechariah 2 and 8. It says, verse 6, 2 and 6. Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, saith the Lord. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of heaven. That's how the Lord spread Israel throughout the four winds. They didn't migrate all over the world. They was forced to migrate. All right. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwelleth with the daughter of Babylon, which the daughter of Babylon is America. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory have he sent me unto the nations, which is the prophets, all right, which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. So they touched the Lord's chosen people. All right. And the Lord's gonna punish them for that. But there's another one I was thinking about. It'll come to me. It'll come. Lord's will. It says, wherefore shall it come to pass that when the Lord have performed his whole work upon Mount Zion Oh, there it is. I knew it was gonna come. Zechariah 1. No, no, no. It's Amos 1. I haven't read this in a while. Oh, not Amos neither. Which is a good one right here, but it's not talking about what I was thinking about. It'll come to me. It popped in my spirit. And then was it Zephaniah? No, no. I know. Hold on. Let me look at this again. What it says? It says, "Where it shall come to pass when the Lord have performed His whole work upon Zion, slavery, which Zion means monument, talking about the whole of Israel, and on Jerusalem, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria, and the glory of his high looks." I was thinking that's Slakia. It might be Amos 1 and the three transgressions. I know that. Yeah, that's Amos. Yeah, it is actually Amos. I'm thinking about Amos 1 and 11. Salakia. Thus saith the Lord, for three transgressions of Edom, and for four I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did he tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. So no matter what they have done, they actually was supposed to go up. This is what I was thinking about. Amos 1 and 9. Thus saith the Lord, for three transgressions of Tyrus, for four, I will turn away the punishment thereof, because it did deliver up the whole captivity to Edom. And remember not the brotherly covenant. And Tyrus and Israel had never been brothers. So it's really talking about Edom. Edom sold Edom to Edom. All right. Also, what you call the Palestine, what they call the Palestinians today, they used to occupy that land. So it was a conglomerate of nations. But the point is, our punishment was done. All right. Our punishment was done, but they still pursued. All right. They still went after our people. So the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua has not forgotten. We'll go back to this and finish it off. Back at Isaiah 10 and 13. For he saith, by my strength of my hand have I done it. This is why they stirring up that spirit of that ancient spirit. That what is this guy? Stephen Miller talking all that shit. You haven't built nothing. Da, da, da. They getting that start heart again. They get that pride is oozing. All right. And by my wisdom, if I am prudent, I have removed the bounds of the people, removing ancient landmarks. Okay, that's what they did of the people, and have robbed their treasures. Literally, they robbed the treasures. They went on a gold rush. All right, they robbed all of the Caribbean islands, South America, what they call North America. They robbed them, and have put down the inhabitants like a violent man. And they use Gatling guns and so forth. In my hand have found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one gathereth the eggs that are left, I have gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or the peaked. Meaning, in other words, there was not that much of a resistance, and there was always resistance. They didn't come and just took everything. All right, they didn't just come out the blue and just random obliterate because they have all this great strength and power. No, they came and it was helped because the Lord had to take our strength down. And this is what the Lord is saying. Shall an axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith? Or shall the sword magnify itself against him that shaketh it? As if the rod should shake itself against them that lift it up, or as if the staff should lift up itself as if it was no wood. So a tool is not going to be useful without the person that's using the tool. The only reason why Esau got America, because the Lord allowed it. All right. He had to take the natives and its strength down. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, he had to take their strength down. And you still couldn't take them down. You needed divine help to take us down. All right. Therefore, saith the Lord of hosts, send among his fat ones Linus, and under his glory shall he kindle burning like the burning of fire. The light of Israel shall be for a fire, and his Holy One for a flame, and it shall burn and devour his thorns and his briars in one day, which is those ICBM nuclear missiles. All right. And it shall consume the glory of his forests and his fruitful fields, both soul and body, and shall be as when the standard bearer fadeth, and the rest of the trees of his forest shall be few, that a child may write them. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, which is the elect, and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. So that the elect is protected by Yahweh Shai. Okay? The Lord allowed you to do what you did and get you boasted and braggadocious just in order to take you down. All right? This is why America is slated to be destroyed. And the remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty power. As for thy people Israel, be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant shall return. Keep saying remnant, remnant, remnant. Remnant, remnant. Why? Because the Lord is concerned about the remnant of Israel, which is the elect, a chosen few. Okay? That's what all the Lord is concerned about, what the Lord is dealing with. So you got to destroy the majority of the Lord's people. They're still subject to destruction, but it's all about the remnant of the Lord's people that the Lord's not going to allow you to even to destroy. All right? It says the consumption decree shall overflow with righteousness. For the Lord Yahweh of hosts, power of hosts, shall make a consumption even to determine the midst of all the land. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, O my people that dwelleth in Zion, be not afraid of the Assyrians. So we're not supposed to be afraid of these people. He shall smote thee with a rod, and shall lift up his staff against thee after the manner of Egypt. For yet a very little while, the indignation shall cease, and my anger and their destruction. You see that? So the Lord set you up, man. And the Lord, to this day, to this moment, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is setting up Esau for the biggest fall in human history. And there's nothing that you can do about it. And the Lord of hosts shall stir up a scourge for him, according to the slaughter of Media and the rock of Arab, as a rod upon the sea, so shall he lift up after the manner of Egypt. And it shall come to pass in that day that his burden shall be taken away from off thy shoulders, and his yoke from off thy neck, and thy yoke shall be destroyed because of the atonement, the anointment. Sorry. So who's the anointed one that's going to come? Yahweh Shai. So once again, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua set Esau for the greatest failure in human history by touching the apple of his eye. And the Lord allowed he consistently allowed it to happen to this very moment. To this very moment. Okay? But the role's gonna be reversed. No longer, matter of fact, there, Jeremiah 30:16 to the point. Therefore, all they that devour thee should be devoured, and all thy adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. For I will restore health unto thee. The health started when? By the Lord giving us his name. That's the restitution. All right. So we being restored right now. And it says, and I will heal thee from thy wounds. And after the being restored is the healing. So we in the healing process. Okay. Saith the Lord, because they called thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. So them boasting and bragging against us, the Lord's going to show the world that he's for us. All right. Let me end it off on this one. Back in Revelation 11 and 11 now. It says, after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High into them. So what is the spirit of life? The Lord gave us our identity. He told us who we were. Okay? Keep the law, statutes, and commandments. We omitted our faults. Okay? We repented. And it says, saying, all right, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. And they stood upon their feet. This is why there's camps all over the place. All right? That's the recognition. That was the sign of the Lord's people returning to their original state, crying unto the Lord. That's the biggest mistake. All the things that they did to us, they did it strategically. It was an international conglomerate of nations that kept us in the darkness. So since they kept us in that dark state, we could never cry to the Lord. How are we going to cry to the Lord when we didn't know his name? So it wasn't, they spent billions of dollars to ensure that we remain in darkness. All right. So this is not a small crime. This is a huge crime that was committed. And the Lord, Yahweh Shai, is changing the narrative. All right. The Lord is changing the narrative. He's giving us back what was taken from us, that he took away from us. It wasn't by Esau's strength that he took us down. It's by the Lord. All right. And just like how the Lord took us down in our strength, the Lord's going to keep this man's strength, and he's going to give us back our true strength to utterly destroy these people. And once again, Tawadi Hawabah Shem Shai for being Israelite. Because this is a long overdue situation right now. And it says, and great fear fell upon them that saw them. And the elites, all right, are in great fear. Yeah, you have a lot of naysayers on the net. It's like, oh, these guys are radical. They talk a lot of shit, da da da. We got guns, we got this, we got that. Okay, that's nice. But ask your elites what they really think. All right? They're in panic mode. That's why they're doing certain things. That's why you could pick up all the dumb stuff that they're doing, because they themselves is being sloppy, because they're in great fear of the Lord. They know the Lord exists. They fooled you, local people, and this was one of the great signs of what was to come. The true biblical Israelites waking up to who they are. And it says, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither, and they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, which the cloud is talking about the chariots, and their enemies beheld them, because the chariots is going to deliver the remnant of the nation of Israel from the set destruction that's coming to America. And there's nothing that can be said, nothing that can be done. All right, it was already ordained. America's Babylon the Great is destined to be destroyed. There ain't no repenting. There's no sorry. There's no nothing. It will be destroyed. All right, and every single act that was done to the Lord's people is the reason why the Lord is going to destroy America. So that being said, shalom to the elected nation of Israel. Shalom.